the Champions of Valor, the greatest team of superheroes the world has ever known. Atlas Armstrong was created as part of a government Cold War program in the 80s. However, after the Cold War ended, the program was shut down and the infant was taken in by an old retired general. After Atlas came of age, he branched out on his own, becoming the world's first superhero, Atomic Man. Gifted with super strength, speed, flight, and X-ray vision, he is the clear leader of the group. By day, Jack Morrison is the billionaire CEO of Morrison Corp., but by night he fights crime as Wraith, using his vast collection of gadgets to help in his crusade against crime. Businesswoman by day, warrior woman by night, Valerie Curry comes into contact with an ancient artifact while at an archaeological dig. The artifact grafted onto her skin, permanently giving her the powers of an ancient mythological warrior, Valkyrie. Jess Moffat, formerly a party girl and trust fund kid, used her wealth in order to develop a serum, giving her super speed, transforming into the superhero Streak. The ancient Greek hero Hercules faked his own death centuries ago. After the emergence of modern superheroes, Hercules came out of his self-imposed retirement, working together with Atomic Man to form the Champions of Valor. This is what they do when they are not saving the world. This is Unmasked, Episode 1. A middle-aged banker sits at his desk, a pile of paperwork in his hands. Sitting across from him is Atlas Armstrong, unassuming in his crumpled suit and glasses.
Okay, Mr. Armstrong, we've reviewed your documents and everything looks to be in order. If you just sign here, we can file your loan application.
Please, call me Atlas. Dr. Dredd.
Standing in the rubble where the doorway of the bank used to be is the supervillain, Dr. Dredd. Flanked by 3 henchmen, Dr. Dredd wears a black cloak with a silver skull-shaped mask covering his face. He holds a cartoon-looking death ray in his hands.
Everyone on the ground. Follow my instructions carefully. Make one wrong move and you'll be eviscerated.
Atlas tosses aside his glasses. He rushes forward, ripping open his shirt to reveal the logo of Atomic Man beneath it. Half a dozen armed police officers stand outside the bank, ready to strike. The squad commander stands at the head of the group, barking orders.
We move in on my count. 3, 2, 1.
The police officers rush into the building. Dredd's henchmen are splayed out across the floor of the bank, beaten to a pulp. Dredd himself is on his knees, his hands cuffed behind his back. Atomic Man stands over him, holding the death ray in his hands as the police swarm in around him.
He's all yours, boys.
Thank you, Atomic Man.
Atomic Man and the commander pose for a photo, smiling and shaking hands. The police start hauling away Dredd and his goons.
That's the last we'll be seeing of Dr. Dredd. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Atomic Man shoots out of the building, leaving a trail of wind in his wake. Dredd's men sit in the back of the van, dazed. Dredd himself struggles with his handcuffs, a seemingly futile gesture.
What are you doing, boss?
Getting out of here.
Is that a lockpick?
Yes. I'm out of here.
What about us?
You're on your own.
Don't leave us here, boss.
Hey, keep it down back there.
So long, boys.
An old abandoned building stands on the outskirts of the industrial district. A faded sign on the front of the building reads, Morrison Corp. Atlas emerges at the end of the street. He steps inside the building. Moonlight shines down from the cracks in the ceiling, bathing the room in a silver glow. Atlas makes his way to the center of the room. As he walks into the middle of the room, the ground gives way, opening a hole down into the center of the building. Atlas steps inside. Atlas makes his way down a long corridor. Where the building itself was old and falling apart, the tunnel is surprisingly sleek and modern. Atlas comes to the first security protocol, a fingerprint scanner. He places his hand on the scanner and a green light radiates from the machine as it checks his fingerprints.
Fingerprint recognized.
Atlas continues down the hallway. He comes up to the second security protocol. It looks like a silver, high-tech version of a drive-through order window.
Please state your name.
Atlas Armstrong.
Voice patterns recognized.
Atlas makes his way to the final checkup. A laser grid shoots out of the machine, covering Atlas's face.
Facial recognition activated. Scanning. Facial patterns not recognized.
What the hell?
Alarm activating in 5, 4, 3,
Oh, screw
2,
this.
1. 1.
That's better. I wonder what's wrong with the facial recognition anyway. Oh, damn it. I left my glasses on again, didn't I?
Atlas sits in his costume in the kitchen of the Champion of Valor's headquarters. He reads the newspaper as he sips his morning cup of coffee. Valkyrie enters the room, taking a seat at the opposite end of the table.
Not one bloody mention of me in the whole paper. Not one.
Morning, Val. Nice to see you. How's your morning been? Good, thanks. How about you? What's that? Something about the paper? Please go on.
You know what's on the front page? Dr. Dredd escapes custody. Never mind the fact that I stopped the robbery and saved at least a dozen people. I mean, this is the third time this week I've stopped a mugging or a robbery, and what have I got to show for it?
The satisfaction of doing the right thing?
Yeah, good one. Look at this. There's a 3-page write-up on Space Knight. Suddenly everyone's fawning over him like he's the second coming of Christ. He's only been on the scene, 3 months? We've been doing this 5 years, and suddenly they're ignoring us because there's a shiny new hero on the block. There's even an article in here about Jack stopping a runaway pram. Can you believe this crap? How the hell does this happen?
It's one of the perks of owning all the newspapers in the city, I guess.
Well, there is that.
Morning, team.
Well, if it isn't the son of Zeus himself, how's it going, Herc?
Besides the hangover, could be worse. What the hell was all that noise last night? It took me forever to get back to sleep.
The alarm's broken.
Let me guess. The facial recognition. You didn't leave your glasses on again, did you?
No, of course not.
Morning.
Jack, what's with the glasses?
Hey, this is private property. You can't be here.
Intruder alert, intruder alert.
Jack, is that you? I didn't recognize you with those glasses on.
Oh, ha ha. Very funny.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So, what's new besides Professor Moron over here setting off the alarm again?
It's Dr. Moron. I didn't go through 8 years of medical school to be called Professor.
Good one, haven't heard that before.
Atlas is just a little sore that there's no mention of him in the paper.
Bruised ego, huh?
I've been busting my ass all week, stopping actual crimes, and they're writing fluff. No offense.
What you need is a publicist. These stories don't just write themselves. If you want more exposure, you've got to earn it.
By paying someone else to do it for you.
Exactly.
Typical.
Do you want me to hook you up with my guy or what?
It can't hurt, I suppose.
So now that that's out of the way, what's on today's agenda?
Beach cleanup in Argentina, a volcano that needs blocking in Japan, and I think there's a warlord in Africa that needs some overthrowing.
Time to start drinking.
It's 9 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. You know what my metabolism's like. I'm practically gonna have to drink all day if I want to be plastered by quitting time.
Morning, Jess.
Morning.
Guess it's time to get to work.
Let me just put these back on. Who does this look like to you?
Who's he?
Screw you all.
Seriously, who are you? Are you new here? What's going on?
Okay, that's enough.
Oh, hey, Jack. What happened to the other guy?
You guys are the worst.
Was it something I said?
The Incredible Sulk has a point, though. We need to start increasing our public awareness.
Let me guess. You're gonna throw another one of your depressing fundraisers.
I was thinking something more along the lines of drafting a new team member.
Good. I don't have to sit through another gala for HIV-positive Ethiopian orphans with dysentery or whatever.
It wouldn't hurt to start thinking about other people for a change. You know, when I was doing my 12 labors...
Not again.
It's always the 12 labors with you. It's been centuries. You need to let it go.
Atlas was right. You guys are buzzkills. I need another drink.
Need help trying out new members?
Yeah, I guess. Why are you so interested all of a sudden?
It beats doing actual work. Besides, I just know Marksman's gonna show up.
The arrow guy?
Yeah, he's gonna be heartbroken when he doesn't get in. It's gonna be hilarious.
That's so cruel.
Oh, come on. He's tried out for the team a dozen times and still hasn't taken the hint. Plus, he doesn't even have any superpowers.
You don't have any superpowers.
I'm rich. That's basically the same thing.
The champions of Valor flit in and out of the change room, getting ready for the day ahead of them. Atlas stands to the side of the room, ironing his Atomic Man costume. He wears nothing but a pair of Atomic Man brand underwear. Val and Jess enter the room.
What are you doing?
Ironing my costume.
Why?
I've got a reporter coming into the HQ today to write an article about me, courtesy of Jack's publicist.
Wow, that was fast.
I know, I've only got a few hours to get everything together.
Good luck with that.
Thanks. How's the search for a new team member going?
Tryouts start in about half an hour. Speaking of which, did you want to give us a hand? We could always use another set of eyes.
You know, I would, but I've got so much work I've got to get through today.
Since when does watching the Oprah Network count as work?
What are you doing?
Why is everyone so nosy around here? I'm getting ready for my interview, if you must know.
You're taking it kind of seriously, don't you think?
I need to get my name back out there again, and it's important that I cultivate my image. At least that's what Jack's publicist tells me.
I'd listen to him if I were you. One time, I took a whole bunch of acid, and I was convinced the building was coming to life and trying to kill me. I took out a whole city block. My publicist convinced the press I was doing everyone a favor by removing potentially harmful asbestos. I ended up winning a Humanitarian of the Year award.
Was there actually asbestos in any of the buildings?
Well, theoretically.
Oh man, there's a huge sweat stain under the armpits. How the hell am I going to get that out?
I know how you feel. I spilled a meatball sub on my ceremonial robes and it was a nightmare to get off. I ended up having to throw them out. That's why I switched to steel-plated armor. It's kind of redundant with my super strength, but it's a hell of a lot easier to clean.
You just need a new detergent. I've actually been working on something that has nanobots in it. It's pretty much the only thing that can get rid of superhuman sweat stains. You're welcome to try it out. I've been trying to talk Jess into it, but she refuses to use it.
Like I'm gonna wear the same outfit twice.
You guys are amateurs. I've got the latest Morrison Corp water purifier installed in this bad boy. It recycles all my bodily fluids into drinking water.
Even your pee?
I said all of my bodily
Ew,
fluids.
that's gross.
It's cleaner than spring water.
You're disgusting.
What's the big deal? It's perfectly fine. Maybe a little salty.
Nope, I'm out of here.
Me too. I think I'm gonna vom.
I think it's a good idea. It's great for the environment.
You're the worst. Suck all the joy out of everything, why don't you?
I better start getting ready too. Good luck.
Atomic Man sits on the couch, tapping his foot impatiently as he waits for the reporter to arrive.
Coming.
Atomic Man presses a button on the security alarm panel, buzzing the reporter in. The said panel is barely held together with masking tape. The reporter enters the room. He's a thin, bookish man, roughly the same age as Atlas. Atlas and the reporter shake hands.
I'm Richard Miller from the Daily Star.
Thanks for coming. I hope you found the place easily enough.
Took a while to figure out which building it was. By the way, I think your security system is broken.
Yeah, we've been having some trouble with the facial recognition. We're working on getting it fixed. Don't write that down.
Jack and Val enter the auditorium and take a seat behind a judge's desk. Val carries a large duffel bag with her. She unzips the bag and takes out a thick binder.
What's this?
This is all the information we've got on every known superhero. Their names, addresses, bank statements, weaknesses, known enemies, and allies.
And you just had this lying around?
Yeah, totally. I definitely wasn't up till 6 a.m. this morning putting this together. That would be crazy. Okay, first up we've got Malcolm Burwell.
In walks Malcolm, a jittery man in a loose-fitting suit. He looks disheveled with bags under his eyes and a rough stubble on his chin.
Alright, let's see what you can do.
It's not what I can do. It's who I am. There's something inside me, something raw, animalistic, something unattainable. There's a beast within me. I can see it in the darkest eyes of the blackest parts of myself, staring out in the deep pits of my soul, begging me to let it out. I can't give the Crusher what it wants.
Enough of the soliloquy, Hamlet. Just get on with it already.
Okay, but I'm warning you, it's not pretty.
Malcolm's clothes start to tear and his veins pop as his body expands like a balloon. Left standing is a grey-skinned monster, nearly 8 feet tall with biceps the size of tree trunks. The Crusher.
Must crush! Crusher crush beauty table!
Thanks. So, that was, interesting.
I like his alter ego, even if we do have enough people with some super strength on the team. I don't think I can put up with Malcolm, though. Who wants to be around a guy who's constantly bummed out about having superpowers? We get it. There's darkness inside you. Blah, blah, blah. Just make with the punching already.
An ominous man in a black cloak walks down the hallway into the base. He passes by the security protocols without a hitch. He comes to a monitor at the end of the hall, sticking a USB in its side. A keyboard folds out and he starts typing away. Val and Jack sit back behind the desk, which has now been stuck back together with glue and nails, vaguely resembling Frankenstein's monster.
Let's see who we've got next.
A short, middle-aged man walks into the room. He's very nervous and neurotic.
Melvin Greenblatt.
They call me the Squid.
And why is that?
Let me show you.
Melvin removes a glove from his hand. He points his finger at the heroes, squirting black ink out of it. The ink splashes all over Jack's face.
Next.
Jack wipes the ink off his face, gritting his teeth. The figure in black ducks into a toilet in the corridor. Atomic Man walks past the toilet door, leading Richard down the hallway as he gives him a tour of the base.
So tell me a bit about yourself.
Well, I first found out about my powers as a kid. I was part of a Cold War experiment to create a government-funded super soldier. After the Cold War ended and the project was shut down, a retired general who worked on the project adopted me. He and his wife raised me on their farm.
And how did you first become a superhero?
Guess I just loved superheroes growing up, and as soon as I figured out what I could do, I started designing my costume. After I finished uni, I moved here and started putting my powers to good use. It wasn't long before I met Hercules, and we formed the Champions. That must have been about 5 years ago.
The pair come to a doorway.
This is our training room. It has a built-in simulator that can test our abilities through fictional scenarios.
Like the holodeck from Star Trek.
Exactly.
Or the Matrix, or the X-Men, or...
Atomic Man looks nervous. He starts sweating.
Over here is our rec room.
He leads Richard inside. Hercules sits on the couch, drinking as he watches a movie. He's crying when Atomic Man and Richard enter the room behind him.
It's just so beautiful.
Herc is watching the animated Hercules movie.
This is Hercules. Herc, this is Richard, the reporter I was telling you about.
Herc wipes the tears from his eyes as he turns to face Richard and Atomic Man.
Technically, it's Heracles. Damn Romans changed it when they borrowed their mythology from the Greeks. Lo and behold, that's the name that stuck. You know, when I first started out, I'd sign my autographs as Heracles. People thought I was dyslexic, and filling out my tax returns was a nightmare. Eventually, I just bought the bullet and changed my name. I'm still not happy about it, though.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
Zeus still gives me crap about it when I see him at Christmas. Who do you think you are, Prince? Old bastard.
So there's lots more to see. Down the hall, outside this room.
Richard ignores him, jotting away in his notepad.
You know, Christmas actually takes place in September. At least it did before the Romans changed it to coincide with the pagan winter solstice festival. Bloody Romans, always stealing from other religions. Can't come up with any ideas of their own.
You still harboring resentment towards the Romans?
They're not all bad. They know how to throw a good orgy, I'll give them that.
And what have you been doing for the last 3,000 years and change before starting the Champions?
Not much. Drinking mostly.
Crusades, the sack of Rome, 2 world wars. You just decided to sit those out?
Herc stops himself, momentarily taken aback. Richard continues writing in his book. Jack and Val hastily make their way through the rest of the tryouts. Next up is Ferret, a man wearing yellow and black spandex outfit. His long fingernails are sharpened into claws.
I'm the best there is at what I do.
And what is it you do exactly?
Scale of people mostly.
Aren't you in like a dozen different teams already?
Next.
Arachnid Boy enters the room. He's dressed in black and red, with a silver spider on his chest and huge bug eyes.
Too derivative.
You have all the powers of a spider, right?
Yeah.
And spiders shoot their webs out of the butts.
Well, I mean...
So does that mean... Ugh, gross.
Yeah.
Next.
Victor, a pale-skinned vampire in a long trench coat, stands in the center of the room, brooding. Sunlight streams into the room, causing his skin to glisten.
Interesting.
Don't tell me you're seriously considering Sparkles over here.
We could use him to corner the teen market.
I'm not selling out my integrity for some Edward Scissorhands wannabe. Nice try, Robert Smith. Better luck next time. Cut it with the waterworks. I thought boys don't cry.
Victor runs out of the room, crying. Space Knight enters into the room after him, unnaturally handsome and cocky as hell. Space Knight walks in like he owns the place.
Hey ladies, what's cracking?
Space Knight, what are you doing here?
Yeah, you don't exactly seem like a team player.
I don't actually want to join you, no. I'm here to see the show. I heard you guys are trying out new members, and there's no way this ends well.
Space Knight approaches Val, mustering up all the charm he can. Which isn't much.
Say, you're not bad looking. Facial features are mostly proportionate, not bad. What time do you get off?
Back off, buddy.
Hey, I don't need you to fight my battles for me. You can barely open a pickle jar without my help.
Ah!
That was one time. I loosened it.
So, what do you say we ditch this dork knight over here and find out what a real hero is like?
Not interested.
Whatever, I'm gonna go drop a deuce anyway.
Space Knight walks out into the hallway. There's now a long queue waiting to use the toilet.
What the hell's taking you so long?
Arachnid Boy stands at the end of the queue, shifting uncomfortably from side to side.
I think I'm gonna web myself.
There's gotta be another toilet around here somewhere.
Back inside the auditorium, Menace, a fast-talking mercenary in a red costume with katanas strapped to his back and Uzis by his side, finishes his audition.
I like this guy.
I don't know, he seems a little too extreme. I mean, he's a mercenary. He kills people for a living.
He could add a different dynamic to the team.
I don't think he'd mesh well with our family-friendly image. You couldn't exactly put his action figure in a Happy Meal.
What if we start a second team? Some sort of West Coast branch of the Champions.
Isn't it a bit too early to be thinking about spin-offs?
Next.
Marksman walks into the room, dressed in black leather with a bow strung over his back. Jack nearly falls off his chair in laughter.
Next.
But I haven't done anything yet.
How many times do we have to tell you you're never joining the team? You're useless.
Marksman takes out his bow, firing an arrow at a coffee mug on the table. It misses, bouncing off the wall behind Jack and Val and shooting Jack in the leg.
Why the hell did you do that?
I saw it in the Hunger Games. I thought it would look cool.
Get out.
Jess runs around her room in super speed, vacuuming and cleaning. Within about 30 seconds, the whole room is spotless. This is in fact security camera footage of the room. Jess presses play and the footage slows back down to regular speed. On the monitor, she continues cleaning the room at normal speed.
Nothing unusual on the security cameras. I guess it's time for Oprah.
Atomic Man leads Richard through the HQ's trophy room. He's nervous and fidgety as he tries to salvage the interview.
This is the Hall of Valor. It's where we keep mementos from our battles.
They come across the first trophy, the newly acquired death ray of Dr. Dread.
This is one of Dr. Dread's death rays.
Richard starts surveying the death ray.
I wouldn't touch that if I were you. Over here there's a portal to Dimension X, where the nefarious race of time-traveling lizard people live.
They keep moving through the trophy room, Atomic Man pointing out objects as they pass them. At the center of the room sits a table covered in a black tablecloth. 5 chairs surround it, the individual team members' logos on the backs of their chairs.
We've got the spores from a race of aliens who put half the planet to sleep for a week. You should have seen the terrible bed hair everyone had after that one. It was like a flock of seagulls concert. There's the juggler's exploding balls, Hypothermia's freeze ray, and Cat Lady's whip. That brings back memories.
Isn't it dangerous to have all of these just lying around? Especially since you yourself said that your security system is malfunctioning.
I thought that was off the record.
Herc is slumped in his chair, eating from a tub of ice cream. The tub is labeled Trans-Neapolitan. He looks miserable as Jess enters the room. Herc sighs, putting down the tub of ice cream.
Look at me, I'm a failure. It's 3 p.m. and I'm already hammered. Before I joined this team, I faked my own death to get away from the pressure of being a hero. I went on a centuries-long bender before Atlas found me in a bar and convinced me to join the champions. I lived for thousands of years and have literally nothing to show for it.
It can't all be bad. Think about all the good we've done since we started this team. Your past isn't important. It's what you do with your future that matters, and you seem to be on the right track.
Thanks. That was actually pretty insightful.
I can be a lot smarter than the rest of you give me credit for. Look, why don't we go down to the pub? The drinks are on me. You can tell me all about the 12 labours.
Really?
Sure, why not?
As Herc and Jess leave the room, the television continues blaring. On the TV screen, Oprah talks to a crying teenage mother.
Your past isn't important. It's what you do with your future that matters. And you seem to be on the right track.
Atomic Man leads Richard through the final section of the HQ. The hallway is filled with hopeful heroes, either lining up for auditions or waiting to hear back from Val and Wraith.
This is the auditorium. Val and Wraith are in the process of auditioning potential new team members.
Melvin spots Atomic Man and rushes over.
Here comes one of the tryouts now.
Melvin reaches out his ungloved palm and shakes hands with Atomic Man.
Atomic Man, sir, it's an honor to meet you. I'm a huge fan.
Thanks, the honor's all mine, Mr.
Squid is the name. I just got out of my audition. I hope it went well. I'm so nervous.
Melvin lets out a huge burst of ink, covering Richard with it from head to toe.
Oh no.
Jess is sitting on the bar, updating her Instagram as Herc enters the room holding 2 bottles, 1 pear cider and 1 beer. Herc hands Jess the beer. She looks up and shakes her head at him.
You know you should be disappointed in your drink choice. I know I am.
What do you mean?
Not in my wildest dreams did I ever see the great Hercules ever drinking pear cider.
Well, after you've been drinking red wine for hundreds of years, it kinda gets a bit bland.
What about beer?
Nah, too bitter.
Jess shakes her head, chuckling lightly. Herc sits down next to Jess. Jess puts her phone away. They clink their drinks together.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Herc jubilantly recounts the tales of his 12 labours as Jess listens curtly.
So, I'm fighting the Hydra, and I'm hacking away at its heads, but they keep growing back. And this goes on for, I don't know, maybe an hour or 2? By now it's got at least 50 heads, and they're all biting at me and shooting out their poisonous breath. Its blood is spraying everyone, eroding through my armor. I'm basically done for.
What did you do next?
Well, I'd been drinking that morning. I usually knock back a few beers before going into battle. It helps take the edge off. Anyways, the Hydra is coming at me, and I'm about to launch at it with my sword when I feel a burp coming up. I try to hold it back, but it's too strong. So I let out this enormous belch, and the ground starts shaking. The mountains start trembling and causes this huge avalanche. The whole thing just comes crashing and crushes the Hydra under it.
You actually killed a mythical creature from burping too hard?
What can I say? Better out than in.
Ever had an obsessive fan?
Not sure if I would call them obsessive. I mean, they stare and whisper things to their friends, giggling, but they've never actually approached me.
They creeped you out? How old were they?
I don't know, early 20s.
You were scared of some girls in their 20s?
I never said they were girls.
Are you kidding me? I don't even get checked out by guys. What am I doing wrong?
Have you ever tried growing some muscles?
You know I haven't. I'll be sure to hit the gym up more often.
Ever been in trouble with the law?
Well, kinda.
Oh? What happened?
So, I was in a bar with an ex a couple of years back. A real sleazy douche. And anyway, I caught him flirting with a girl at the bar, so I tried to throw my drink over him. Forgetting I was drinking out of a beer bottle, I'd already had a few, and well, I let go of the bottle.
You bottled him?
In a way, I suppose.
Did you hurt him?
No more than he hurt me. But no, the bottle just bounced right off of him and smashed on the floor. It was a close call.
And what happened with the police?
Well, I don't know. I didn't stay to find out. I have super speed, don't I?
Well, it sounds like you were better off without him. He ever tried to apologize to you?
Nah, he had a hard time forgetting the whole bottle incident. Made a much bigger deal out of it than it was.
Herc scratches his head.
What about you?
Just the usual.
The usual?
Drinking in public. Oh, and property damage. I got real drunk one night and fell into the bar.
You fell into the bar? And?
Well, I destroyed it. Accidentally, but the bartender had a real hard time being understanding.
You definitely have a drinking problem, Herc.
Like that was ever up for debate? Thanks for doing this. I really needed it.
No problem. I've been going through something similar lately too. I just feel like the rest of the group doesn't take me seriously, you know?
You shouldn't take it personally. I'm sure they're just trying their best to fit in, same as you. If I've learned one thing in my thousands of years on this planet, it's that everyone feels like the outsider in the group. Everyone feels like they don't quite fit in. They're just drawing attention away from themselves so no one exposes them.
Jess looks at Hercules briefly, before leaning forward, kissing him. Herc is momentarily stunned before he gives himself over to her, passionately kissing back. Jack and Val sit at the desk sometime later, reviewing the application forms. Jack has a bandage wrapped around his leg.
Well, that was a disaster.
You're telling me?
I guess we should probably call it a day.
Wait, I think there's still one more applicant.
Dr. Terrific enters the room. He wears a large armored costume with a protective face mask.
And you are?
Terrific!
I meant your name.
That is my name, Dr. Terrific.
And what do you have to offer the team?
Well, I'm a scientist. I have a number of gadgets and inventions at my disposal. I've built vehicles that can travel faster than the speed of sound, and I'm working on a space station that can double as a base for the team. I also took the liberty of repairing your security system on my way in.
I think we've found our guy.
Jack and Val walk out into the hallway. The tryouts line the hall, waiting to hear their results.
Hi everyone, we've talked it over and we've decided to induct one new member into the Champions of Valor, Dr. Terrific.
Oh!
Congratulations, Doctor.
Welcome to the team.
You fools!
Dr. Terrific takes off his mask, revealing another mask beneath it, the silver skull of Dr. Dread.
It is I, Dr. Dread, and you have led me right into your headquarters, just as I have planned.
Dr. Dread takes out his new death ray. Dread starts firing at Val and Jack, who manage to jump out of the way just in time. Dr. Dread's blast tears a hole through the hallway. Val and Jack start to run in the opposite direction.
Quick, let's get out of here.
Dread fires down the hallway, incinerating a number of tryouts, including Arachnid Boy and Menace. Dredd runs down the hallway after Val and Jack, pushing Victor out of his way.
Move it, Tim Burton.
Jack looks over his shoulder just as Dredd fires a blast at Marksman. Marksman quickly ducks, the blast narrowly avoiding him.
Oh, come on!
Atomic Man leads Richard through the living room. Richard has cleaned himself up and is wearing a change of clothes.
I'm sorry about what happened. I hope we can put it past us and not let it affect the interview.
I suppose I can give you one last chance.
Thanks. You won't regret it. Now, where were we?
Atomic Man and Richard start walking back down the hallway.
So with most of our major supervillains behind bars, we've been refocusing on smaller street-level crimes. This week alone
Jack and Val come running down the hall, Dredd in tow. Dredd fires, sending huge chunks of debris exploding from the walls and ceiling.
Run!
Atomic Man and Richard start running back the way they came. Jack and Val close behind.
I've stopped 3 muggings, a bank robbery, and put out a burning building.
Now's not the best time.
Richard and the 3 champions have reached the living room. It's a dead end. Dredd aims his death ray at them. Atomic Man grabs Richard and throws him out of harm's way as Space Knight emerges from a nearby bathroom.
What the hell is going on here?
You wretched fiend! Feel the wrath of my death ray!
Wow, do all your supervillains talk like they're at a G.I. Joe cartoon?
Space Knight grabs the death ray from Dredd's hands and tosses it aside with ease. He punches Dredd in the face, knocking him out cold.
Nothing to see here, folks.
Richard pulls himself out from under the pile of wreckage. Jack and Val stare at the chaos all around them in stunned silence.
You're not going to mention this in the article, right?
Richard turns his nose up at Atomic Man and starts scribbling in his notepad. Herc sits with his head down at the kitchen table. Atlas enters the room, carrying his morning newspaper.
I'm never drinking again.
I've heard that before.
I mean it this time. I feel worse than when I had to clean the dung out of the Augean stables during my 5th labor.
Here we go.
Val and Jess enter the room.
Jesus, what happened to him?
He's hungover again. What did you get up to last night anyway?
Honestly, I have no idea. The last thing I remember is talking to that reporter of yours. Then I woke up feeling like this.
Jess looks hurt as he says this.
Yeah, he has that effect.
Jess leaves the room without saying a word. Jack walks in after her.
What's up with her?
No idea. She seemed fine a minute ago.
Herc takes out his phone, staring at a selfie of himself and Jess at the bar. Atlas eyes the bandage around Jack's leg.
What happened to you?
I took an arrow to the knee.
So I take it the auditions were a complete disaster then?
You have no idea. Even without Dredd trying to destroy the base, it was a nightmare. The tryouts were a joke.
It wasn't all bad. We did get to hire a new secretary.
Val motions to the paper in Atlas's hands.
Is that the interview?
Yep.
And how is it?
Not good. Not good at all.
Well, what does it say?
The Champions of Valor are the single most incompetent group of heroes I have ever seen. Their blundering buffoonery is not only cringeworthy, but makes me fear for the safety of the city. And then he spends the first 2 pages praising Space Knight, calling him the first real superhero.
Harsh, but fair.
Atlas stares daggers at Jack. Jack shrugs it off.
I've got something I think you'll want to see.
And that's my cue to leave.
Val takes out her phone as Jack slinks out the doorway.
What's this?
My Twitter feed. The article went viral.
Oh, God.
No, have a read of some of these tweets.
How many times have you saved the city from time-traveling lizard people? What a hack. The Champions of Valor have been protecting this city for the last 5 years, and have been doing a damn good job at it. Atomic Man rules. F Space Knight. Wow. People actually like us.
Well, duh.
Thanks.
Don't mention it.
With that, Hercules gets up from his seat and walks over to the fridge. He takes out a can of beer, opens it, and starts guzzling it down. Herc sits on a couch, resting his cheek on his hand. He stares at the photo of himself and Jess.
Oh, shit.
What?
Hey, Jess, it's me.
Oh, the only person I actually don't want to see right now?
Can I come in, please? I owe you an apology.
Jess doesn't reply. Herc slowly opens the door.
If I don't reply, I don't mean yes, and angry silence means no, Herc.
Look, I lied when I said I didn't remember what happened last night. I think I didn't at first because I didn't think it actually happened.
You really need to give up the booze, or at least throughout the day.
That's fair enough, but that's not really what I meant. I didn't think it happened because admitting it happened would make it real. It would make what I'm feeling is real, and I don't know if I'm ready to deal with that. It's been a long time since I've gotten close to anyone.
How long is long?
200 years, give or take.
200 years?
Would you like me to go grab that reporter so we can write about it in the paper?
I'm sorry, Herc. I'm just surprised, that's all. I'm sure no one else heard.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
I mean, I just don't get it. You're thousands of years old.
I was out of action for most of them.
You mean you drank alone that whole time? Is that a yes silence or a no silence? Well, now you officially have a drinking buddy. I mean, if I qualify.
At this time in my life, I would accept anyone, but you would be my first choice. Are you sure you want to settle with me? I mean, you could do better.
Trust me, it's not settling. Just because you don't have a high impression of yourself doesn't mean other people don't. I, for one, think you're a stud.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. I mean, the first part. Actually, the second part as well.
Well, you're welcome. So you approve? I only have one condition.
Of course I do. What's your condition?
You can't drink before 11 a.m. I won't ever be up that early.
Okay, I'll try.
Thank you. Are you crying?
No booze before 11? How flexible are you on that?
That big of a deal, huh?
Well, when you've been drinking non-stop for hundreds of years.
Have you ever gotten your liver checked out?
Nah, my liver would be too far past the checkup. They'll surrender one day.
Well, that's grim.
I'm only kidding. I've got a Greek god's liver. Good as gold.
Melvin sits at a desk in the champion's office, filling out paperwork. He starts signing a document, but his pen runs out of ink. He holds his finger over an inkwell, squirting out black ink. Once the inkwell is full, he refills the pen and continues with the paperwork. Unmasked by Dustin Schmidt and Callan LeCourtier. Starring Aidan Preston as Jack Morrison, aka Wraith. Alex Morrison as Hercules, aka Hercules. Elizabeth Walsh as Jess Moffat, aka Streak. T. Louise Thompson as Valerie Curry, aka Valkyrie. And Callan LeCourtier as Atlas Armstrong, aka Atomic Man.
Unmasked was produced by Amy Williams with the help of the Vaudeville Show and Phoenix Radio. Narrated by Connor O'Loughlin, sound engineer Nathan Wolf, sound design and editing Alistair Goodward. Unmasked copyright Dustin Smith and Callum Courtier 2016. Copyright and recording The Vaudeville Show 2016.